Want to know if your French skills are improving and what your real learning level is? Get your language skills assessed with our free level assessment test. Just click the link in the description and sign up for a free lifetime account to get assessed. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then, repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say yes? Oui. Oui. And how to say me? Moi. Moi. Do you remember how to say and? Et. Et. And how to say daughter? Fille. Fille. Do you remember how to say my daughter? Ma fille. Ma fille. And how to say son? Fils. Fils. Do you remember how to say my son? Mon fils. Mon fils. And how to say husband? Mari. Mari. Do you remember how to say my husband? Mon mari. Mon mari. Do you remember how Karen says, yes, this is my husband, my son, my daughter, and me?
Oui, c'est mon mari, mon fils, ma fille et moi.
Oui, c'est mon mari, mon fils, ma fille et moi. Do you remember how to say family? Famille. Famille. And the formal way to say your family? Votre famille. Votre famille. And do you remember how Sadia Simon asks, is this your family?
Est-ce votre famille?
Est-ce votre famille? Do you remember how to say wife? Femme. Femme. And how to say my wife? Ma femme. Ma femme.
Let's review the key vocabulary.
Professeur.
Teacher,
Professeur. Professeur. Professeur.
teacher,
Professeur. Professeur.
Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how Mark says, good morning?
bonjour,
Bonjour. Do you remember how Mark says, good morning, Miss Simon?
Bonjour, Madame Simon.
Bonjour, Madame Simon.
Do you remember how Karen says, hello?
Bonjour.
Bonjour. And how to say good evening? Bonsoir. Bonsoir. Do you remember how Ben says, good evening, teacher? Use the feminine version of teacher.
Bonsoir, professeur.
Bonsoir, professeur. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then, repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say, see you soon? À bientôt. À bientôt. And how to say, good night? Bonne nuit. Bonne nuit. Do you remember how to say, rest well? Repose-toi bien. Repose-toi bien. And how to say, see you later? À plus tard. À plus tard. Do you remember how to say, see you? Hint is the shortened version of à plus tard. À plus. À plus. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then, repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how Bentley says, excuse me?
Excusez-moi.
Excusez-moi. And how the passenger says, yes?
Oui.
Oui? Do you remember how to say, thank you? Merci. Merci. And how to say, thank you very much? Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup. Do you remember how to say, you're welcome? De rien. De rien. And how the passenger says, I'm sorry.
Je suis désolé.
Je suis désolé. Do you remember how Ben says, it's all right?
Ce n'est rien.
Ce n'est rien.
Let's review the key words and phrases.
Très,
Very,
très, très. Et,
and,
et. Vous,
formal you,
vous, vous. Tu,
informal you,
tu.
Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then, repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember the word for how? Comment? Comment? And do you remember how Markley asks, "How are you?"
Comment ça va?
Comment ça va? Do you remember how to say fine? Bien. Bien. And how to say I'm fine? Ça va bien. Ça va bien. Do you remember how to say thank you? Merci. Merci. Do you remember how Paul Petit says, "I'm fine, thank you"?
Ça va bien, merci.
Ça va bien, merci. Do you remember the formal way to say, "How are you"? Comment allez-vous? Comment allez-vous? Do you remember the informal way to say, "How are you"? Ça va? Ça va?
Now, here's what you can do to cement this conversation in your head. Review the conversation with our dialogue tool and lesson transcripts. Study the key words and phrases with our spaced repetition flashcards. Review the key grammar and cultural tips inside the lesson notes. And test yourself with our assessment tests. So click the link in the description right now and sign up for your free lifetime account to access our Can Do course.